President Biden's low-key address last night belied the most sweeping, ambitious, and transformational presidential speech delivered before a joint session of Congress in almost a century. He took a full 180-degree turn in tone and substance from his predecessor from the Capitol deadly insurrection of January 6th. Before looking to the future, he took a victory lap on the past. And on coronavirus, he said senior deaths from COVID-19 are down 80% since January, and more than half of all adults in America have gotten at least one shot. Looking forward, President Biden's proposals, if passed, could dramatically alter America's relationship with their government, the one that they had known for the last 40 years. In his 1981 inaugural address, Ronald Reagan said, "Government is not the solution to our problem, government is the problem." With Biden, big government is back. His jobs and family proposals are a new deal for the 21st century. The American Rescue Plan and the American Family Plan seek to provide government-funded childcare, education, jobs, healthcare, and he seeks to abolish child poverty. The Americans' Job Plan is a blue-collar blueprint to build America, he said. On immigration, he laid it out this way. For more than 30 years, politicians have talked about immigration reform and done nothing about it. It's time to fix it. On day one of my presidency, I kept my commitment, and I sent a comprehensive immigration bill to Congress. If you believe we need a secure border, pass it. If you believe in a pathway to citizenship, pass it. If you actually want to solve the problem, I have sent you a bill. Now pass it. We also have to get to the root of the problem of why people are fleeing to our southern border from Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador. The violence, the corruption, the gangs, the political instability, hunger, hurricanes, earthquakes. On foreign affairs, Biden's change in tone could alter the United States' connection with the world. It wasn't all rosy, lovey-dovey. He painted a stark choice between autocracy, which his predecessor flirted with, and democracy. He said, "We have stared into an abyss of insurrection and autocracy, of pandemic and pain. And we, the people, did not flinch." At the very moment our adversaries were certain we would pull apart and fail, we came together, united. With light and hope, we summoned new strength and new resolve to position us to win the competition for the 21st century. President Biden tied his success in foreign policy to reasserting democracy at home and abroad. With renewed emphasis on competition, he scolded America for not adequately funding basic research and development in programs such as DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, and the NIH. He said that whereas America used to spend 2% of GDP on such funding, now we spend less than 1%. He said we have to innovate new technologies such as batteries, biotechnology, and computer chips. With increased emphasis on basic research, he said, we're in a competition with China and other countries to win the 21st century. With competition comes cooperation. Biden promises that America's re-entry into the Paris Climate Accords is not some temporary fix for his predecessor's withdrawal from any responsibility or leadership, but rather a permanent change. To Americans, he said that clean energy will create jobs for America. To fiscal hawks, President Biden provided a clear-cut way for his massive proposals: tax increases on the rich, tax cheats, and corporations. He started this way. Let's start with what I will not do. I will not impose any tax increases on people making less than $400,000 a year. It's time for corporate America and the wealthiest 1% of Americans to pay their fair share. Just to pay their fair share. A recent study shows that 55 of the nation's biggest corporations paid zero in federal income tax last year. No federal income tax on more than $40 billion in profits. A lot of companies evade taxes through tax havens from Switzerland to Bermuda to the Cayman Islands, he said, and they benefit from tax loopholes and deductions that allow for offshore jobs and shifting profits overseas. He continued, that's not right. Then he came to the meat of how he'll pay for it. We're going to reform corporate taxes so they pay their fair share and help pay for the public investments their businesses will benefit from. And we're going to reward work, not wealth. We take the top tax bracket for the wealthiest 1% of Americans, those making $400,000 or more, back up to 39.6%. It's important to remember that President Biden is proposing an increase for the marginal tax rate, that is, only on income over $400,000, not on the total tax rate. For those lucky enough to be making $500,000 a year, those people would be taxed at 39.6% on the last $100,000 of their income. To those who scoff at any tax increase, Biden said, "When you hear someone say that they don't want to raise taxes on the wealthiest 1% and on corporate America, ask them, whose taxes are you going to raise instead? And whose are you going to cut?" As promised, Biden is raising taxes to pay for his plan. From this speech, it's clear that Joe Biden spent decades on Amtrak, riding to and from Delaware and thinking how he could lead the U.S. government. He sought the presidency 3 times, and now, in his waning years, this is his time to show how he would reimagine government as we know it. From the White House, this is Doug Christian for Real Political News, and don't forget to listen to our podcast with my co-host, John Christopher Bua.